For this next example, we have -5 plus 2 3/4. Notice that this -5 is an integer, no fraction with it, but 2 3/4 is a mixed number, which means it has part fraction. So that means that we need to turn all of these into fractions. So -5, to turn that into a fraction, we put it as over 1, and then 2 3/4 will turn that mixed number into an improper fraction. To do so, we're going to take 2 times 4, which is going to give us 8. We can think of that as 8/4 plus the remainder here, which was 3. So 8/4 plus 3/4. 8 plus 3 is going to give us 11. So that's going to give us 11/4. And then now we have two fractions. We do not have the same denominator, so now we need to make it so they have the same denominator. So 1 and 4 both go into 4, so all I need to do is multiply the first fraction, top and bottom, by 4. And that will give me -20/4 plus 11/4. My denominator will stay the same with 4. And the numerators I will combine, so -20 plus 11. Those are different signs, so I'm going to subtract. I'll take the larger number minus the smaller number, so 20 minus 11 will give me 9. And then, since the signs were different, not only did I subtract, but then I have to look at the larger number. So 20 or 11, 20 is larger. What's the sign in front of 20? It's negative, so that means that this is going to give me a -9/4. Again, you could turn this into a mixed number, but I would suggest that you keep it as an improper fraction. The mixed number, if you wanted to turn it into a mixed number, would work like this. How many times does 4 go into 9 without going over? And the answer to that is 2. 2 times 4 gives us 8. 8 is 1 away from 9, so the remainder would be 1 out of the 4, and then don't forget to keep the sign. So that was a negative, so all of this needs to be negative as well. Multiplying and dividing with fractions is actually a little easier than adding and subtracting, because with adding and subtracting, you have to have common denominators. However, with multiplying and dividing, you do not. All right, so with multiplying with fractions, you multiply the tops, so you multiply the numerators. You also multiply the denominators, and then you can simplify. Now, to save yourself a little bit of time, you can simplify first and then multiply, but the order that you do that really does not matter. Just make sure that at some point you are simplifying if possible. So for the first example, we have -3/5 times -1/4. I'm going to multiply the numerators, -3 times -1, which is going to give me, well, a negative times a negative becomes a positive. And 3 times 1 is going to give me 3. Now, I already took care of the signs. The negative times the negative became the positive, so that means that this overall answer is going to be positive. Now I just need to multiply the denominators. So 5 times 4 is going to give me 20. 3/20 does not reduce, so 3/20 would be my final answer. Now for the next problem, we have a positive fraction times a negative fraction, so we know that this is going to give us a negative fraction for our answer. Now we can go ahead and just multiply straight away the tops and then the bottoms. So 5 times 12 would give us 60, and 12 times 7 would give us 84. So the answer would be -60/84, but those can, both numerator and denominator are even numbers, so I know that it can be reduced. What can I divide 60 and 84 by? Well, I know that they both are divisible by 12. So 60 divided by 12 is going to give me 5, and 84 divided by 12 is going to give me 7. That answer before was negative, so this fraction, when simplified, still has to be negative. So the final answer would be -5/7. Now, that wasn't really too bad, but there is a way to make that problem a little bit easier for yourself. Rather than multiply first and then simplify, why not simplify first? So let's redo this problem and have simplified before we multiply. All right, so the first fraction, 5/12, cannot reduce. The second fraction, 12/7, cannot reduce because they didn't have anything in common. However, since we are going to be multiplying all of this together, I could extend this fraction bar. Now, I don't want to lose sight of the fact that this answer has to be negative. Okay. But if this fraction bar now extends all the way through, now I have a 5 on top, a 12 on top, a 12 on bottom, and a 7 on bottom. So we have a 12 on top with a 12 on bottom. Those can cancel each other out. And that would leave us with the 5/7. So same answer as before. In my opinion, it's a little bit easier to simplify before you multiply. Anything on top can simplify with anything on the bottom when you are multiplying. Do not get this confused with adding and subtracting. This process of simplifying first will not work.